And welcome all to the sixth broadcast of the Killer Cats crew. Tonight we have with us Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hello.
Yeah. And then we got ourselves a sleepy lady who's been drinking a bit too much.
A little bit intoxicating
Yeah.
true form.
Just a bit too many Jello shots. Well, that can happen, and that's pretty okay. Let's go to our first bit, which is metal news. This week, we're going to be starting with a metal news from Sonic the Hedgehog. KP, take it away.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Killer Cats crew. You know, the three crazy-ass women, way too much to rant about. And my news this week is about George Lynch. Everyone knows him from Dokken, and a great guitar player. And he did a documentary about Native Americans. And me being part Native American, that excited me. So, yeah, he decided to go to these different reservations and play, and he saw the blight that was going on and how badly the reservations are structured and just how poor they are, and he couldn't believe it, so he decided to try and use his fame, because I mean George Lynch is pretty popular. I mean everybody knows who he is or whatever. And he made a documentary about it, and it actually world premiered a couple weeks ago at the annual Jerome Indie Film and Music Festival. So, yeah, if you guys can check it out, we will link it, and you can see some pretty disgusting things that are going on right here in America that, you know, people shouldn't live that way. Not really metal news, but he's a metal guy, and he's trying to make a stand for natives. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm not a big George Lynch fan. I mean, I like Dokken, and whatever. Everyone knows I like heavier stuff, but I listen to everything. But for him to do that, I thought that was pretty kick-ass. So not a lot of people pay attention to the Native Americans, even though they were the first ones here. And so yeah, that's my metal news. Check it out. We'll link it.
Yeah, that is metal news, even though it isn't directly metal, but if there's something that's going on in the metal world that's even remotely related to metal, so that at least was really, really worth a news paste. For myself, this week's metal news is that the new Alpha Honey album that KP talked about a few weeks back, it's finally out. It's out there, it's on Spotify. It's available, of course, in a physical format. It has very, very good lineup of guests, among them the singer of Kvelertak and Niklas Kvafot of Shining. I highly suggest everybody go and check it out and get their hands on it. And now I'm going to ask Katie to be a bit more careful with her blanket, because it's making such a rustling sound that it can be heard to the ends of the world, but maybe that means that even Katie has a piece of metal news to share. Do you have something for us, Katie?
Other than my blanket being really loud, no, I'm sorry. I did not do my homework. I know I plugged last time recording Shadowwoods Festival that's happening by the time this airs, probably next weekend in Maryland. That's the outdoorsy thing. But other than that, I'm just gonna be quiet now.
That's okay. So that was our metal news for this week. Now we're gonna go to our main topic for this week, and yeah, we're all girls, and we all got boyfriends, or have had quite a lot of them in the past, and some of them have been that dreaded thing your parents always warned you about, or if they didn't, they should have. They're called musicians. what is it like to date a musician? What are the pros and cons? Are there any pros? I don't know. But there's always something. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And we're going to be starting with Chrissy. P, what do you have on your heart to tell us about this dreaded type of boyfriend?
Well, they're on the road a lot, so they're, not here where you want them to be. If you want to, cuddle and do all that fun stuff, they're not around. So that's the unfun part. Um, like I was very disappointed to find out that I decided to call him my consort from now on instead of my boyfriend. Because I'm too old. I'm an old lady, so my consort sounds better. And anyway, he's actually away right now, and I was like, I thought that was at the end of the month, and he was like, no, it's this weekend, and I'm like, all right, see ya, bye. I'm alone again. So here I am, drinking, wearing a Sonic the Hedgehog hat, and he's off at a festival playing, so that's the bad part. I get tired of the travel, but the fun part is you get to go to a lot of shows, and, I personally stay out of his band business. Like, I don't go to the practice and watch and put any input in. I did put input in on one song when I heard a rough draft, and I was like, do not change this song ever, because it's so kick-ass. And they actually didn't change it, so it was actually pretty good. I was like, if I can throw out my producer ear, save this song. But I try to stay out of their business, and I don't know, it's hard. And he's more into the, what do you call it, punk scene, hardcore scene. So I'm not really worried about groupies as much as if he was in a different scene. There's more man groupies than there are women groupies, so that's not an issue for me. But they all love him because he's such a great drummer, and he gets hoarded. People come up, dude, you're so great. I get pushed out of the way by dudes. So I don't know. That's my experience so far. Just it gets tiring. Yeah.
Yeah, I can believe it can be a lonely place. And I know we have Katie as well, who has experience on this, but is it about the loneliness, or are there some other things that we like or hate? Katie?
Well, let's see. I definitely am a bit more involved in his band only because I actually was working with them before he was, and introduced him into it. So it's definitely awesome because if they're part of my family at this point, which is great. But at the same time, it's you have to make sure you give them enough space while they're about to perform, which I find I do pretty well. Just essentially just make sure they have everything they need or whatever. But it's definitely difficult, being there and doing merch for them and stuff. In the black metal scene, obviously, there's just a lot of other dudes. So it turns into more of the anything that's a man that's talking to me is a threat to him, and he can't do anything about it because he's up on stage. So it causes, difficulties from time to time. But, I mean, we worked through it, and we managed to go on tour together, which was scary. Just because, it's like, I felt bad because, the other girlfriends in the bands were they couldn't go because nobody wanted them to go. Well, not that they didn't want it, but there's no room in the van, and I at least, have a background of doing merch, and if anything happens to the bassist, I can jump in for them. So they asked me to go with them, and it was just really, sketchy, because, I wanted to let him, do his thing on tour, but also didn't want him to do anything. But, you have to kind of learn to roll with the punches and pretty much just kind of work together to make things go well. But we work together pretty well, so.
Well, that sounds like a more positive thing, that when somebody can get over the the aspect of having the girlfriend with you and find a way to make it work, that's always a good thing. Then you have at least one more hobby together. For myself, I've dated 3 musicians more seriously in my lifetime, plus my dad was a musician. The cons of it, as said, well, they are not home all the time. For me, being a kid when my dad was a musician, that was a bit different because I could go with. But what I did learn at that age was that there's booze, there's women, there's whatever, and yeah, then you just go with it. And that wasn't that bad. For myself, the horror of dating a musician is mostly that they don't have, well, most of them don't have a day job. Some of them try to get by with what they make, and that can be a horror. There's a common joke going around of, what do you call a musician without a girlfriend? You call him homeless. You call him utterly broke, because without a woman or a man, there's usually the problem that just by being a musician, you can't make a living. So if you don't have a day job, that spells trouble. Many people think that, yeah, it's gonna be glamorous, it's gonna be cool, it's gonna be just like, jet set life if I date a musician. Well, it's far from it. First of all, going along to gigs, you're gonna see that that's just bullshit. That's just tiresome. And then when it goes down to the money business, well, it's gonna be you paying, not the other one. Unless your bow hits it big in America, or gets a European-wide hit, or is big in Japan, you have no hopes of getting anything in terms of jewelry from them. And you should be prepared. It isn't fun. But of course, living and going out with artistic people, that is a joy in itself. They have a different look on things. And if you respect their artistry and give them time, they're gonna create things that you're gonna be so proud of. You just gotta give them that time. You just gotta give them that space. And sometimes that is tough. But yeah, life is full of choices. Dating a musician is one of them. And yeah, it takes a lot of patience, but sometimes it's worth it. What do you guys think? Sonic!
Nah, it's worth it. I love him, so I'm sticking with him. And I'm proud. I'm super proud of him. I'm proud of all the projects he's in 3 different projects right now. So it's like, that's hard in itself. I kind of wish he was only in 1, so then we'd have more time together. Plus, we're on different schedules, and like I said, the time thing is the bad thing for us. But him being in three projects all together and playing in 3 different bands and playing 3 different sets of shows and touring with one and coming back and playing with another, and yeah, I'm proud of all the stuff that he does. He is a magnificent drummer. He's amazing, and it's fun to watch him for me. So, and I tell him that. So.
I can sense a bit of anxiety in all of our voices, but yeah,
I told him what the topic was going to be, and he goes, "You say nice things about me." I was like, maybe if you're nice, I will.
See, I
maybe
got
have nice things.
Yeah, I got the. You better not say shit. I don't want to be involved. But yeah, I had to touch on the money topic, and even if they do have a day job, like, it doesn't matter. Just because they have to find something that'll, let them take all the time off they need, for rehearsals and recording and all that stuff. So even if they do have the day job, it's like you're still helping them out, for gas or food or whatever. But it's worth it. You're seeing somebody you love do what they love to do, so it all pays off in the end. But yeah, I'm absolutely proud of this kid. I mean, he was only in the band for like 2 years and decided to go cross country, and it worked out. So, fuck. Yeah.
That's good. If we can find that in ourselves to just focus on the good things, then it does pay off. It really does pay off.
Mm-hmm.
So you shouldn't be afraid of that. And yeah, I can say that from if you think of women, not many of them are afraid to try that. I think there's so many groupies out there who would love to try and be with a musician, but I think that most of them would be scared of the day-to-day life if it would come down to that.
I don't think they can
And,
handle it. Seriously. If all they're looking for is the good time, yeah, they're not going to be able to handle it day to day, that's for sure.
Precisely. It takes a bit more, so those then tend to be the ones that just hang out backstage looking for a one-night stand and a little bit of fun, but then they wouldn't be able to take the real thing.
Right.
And, well, then there are us who then end up being the ones that are home and take care of everything while giving the other the space they need. Which is okay, because on the other side, though we are lonely, we do get time for our own stuff too. And
Yep.
I, for one, am one who loves that. So it's not all bad. It's not at all bad. You get a lot out of it.
I get to drink when he's gone, so because he doesn't drink, so I get to party a little. I get to party when he's gone, so it's bad. Because I try not to drink around him because he doesn't drink, so it's like, okay, he's gone. I can have a few drinks and have some fun and lay back and watch my dumb ghost shows and whatever, and my dumb movies and my dumb Kardashian show, and nobody to judge me, whatever.
Oh, that's definitely a topic for the for the very near future. Our small
Kardashians?
vices when it comes to TV programs. We all have them.
YOLO!
So, Katie, do you have any last words for dating a musician?
I can't
And
say
I'm not
don't.
talking about breaking up with them.
No. I definitely would say that it takes a very strong-hearted person to be able to be in a committed relationship with a musician for a long period of time. So, girls, if you get into a relationship with a musician and figure out it's not for you, just end it quick. Because, they tend to be very emotional, too. The guys, I mean. So if you don't think you can cut it, just, keep on with the groupie life, have fun, do whatever, but for the fellow lady
Run.
musician lovers, run to the hills. But yeah, no, other than that, I love Dube Fell very much, and going to King Richard's Fair tomorrow, so we get to be super geeky and metal and all at the same time. It'll be a good time, so yeah. Sorry, the blanket.
Turkey leg?
Yes, turkey leg.
Awesome. I did eat those at one point in my life, so yes.
And that wraps it for our Dating a Musician bit. This week we also have a guest, actually. Chrissy, do you wish to?
She doesn't want to be on camera. She's camera shy.
Okay, that's cool.
My oldest niece, Shanna, and we're playing Yahtzee and having drinks, and it's girls' night, and yeah, We were watching our dumb ghost shows. We love ghosts. And she said if we talked about ghosts, she'd be willing to talk on camera. So, yeah, we were talking about ghost stories earlier. So, if you guys have any, we're willing to talk about them. Introduce yourself.
Story.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Minnesota. Hello.
Oh, hello, don't you know?
Sound like that.
Yeah, you do.
No, but that cop in Minnesota that pulled me over did.
Yeah. But so yeah, we were talking about like the house that she grew up in the same house that I did, and it was very much active, you could say, and several different things happened there. She saw more things than I did.
I've seen things, heard things, and felt things my entire life.
Yeah, she's way more sensitive to that than I am, but yeah, we've all had our experiences. And then actually at my parents' house, when they moved up north, far away after they retired, lots of activity up there too. And her and I are actually staying at a haunted hotel the night before Halloween. So we're hoping to get some activity in our room and get scared.
Yeah, I have a goal of Chrissy's boyfriend Michael's never experienced anything, so I rented a suite at the Palmer House Hotel in Sauk Center, Minnesota. It's supposed to be one of the most haunted locations in Minnesota, so I'm hoping that he will finally experience something for the first time. That's my goal.
He's such a skeptic, so we're hoping to scare the pants off him. For reals. My consort. My tough consort drummer guy.
In my summer cottage, or my family's summer cottage in Finland, we have renovated it over the years. It's about 100 years old. There's always things happening. I haven't been there for a couple of years, but the goings on are the same. Doors open, doors close. Things like books go missing and then appear at a totally different place and appear in a way that you can't miss them. Like once, for example, my mom's diary was missing, and then at the sauna building, suddenly it dropped out of a drawer that didn't have any things in it. It just dropped from the drawer to the floor. Those things are the kinds that they really can't be explained. Adding to that all the feelings of like feeling that somebody's behind you and all that.
Right.
There's definitely something going on. There's a long history to that building. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's there are some summer cottages like 100 meters away. It's by a lake. And but going to the nearest store, it's about 7 kilometers or something. So it's really remote. So it gets really dark at night time, and you can hear all the wildlife. So it's a perfect place to go and experience that as well. So he is hoping that one day we can bring the podcast to Finland and to the cabin as well. So that would be an experience.
Jana looks really excited. I'll have to bring her with.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it doesn't really, you get those, nowadays, traveling from the US to Finland, it isn't that expensive anymore now that we have Norwegian and Finnair dropping their prices. So
Yep.
there's a really, really good chance we could actually do it. Maybe in the middle of winter where it's just, 3 hours of daylight and then it's all pitch black.
Awesome.
I would be so happy.
We've always heard there was always footsteps, like especially after my dad died at the newer house. Wow, we would hear footsteps and the floorboards creak and stuff upstairs in the loft. And my mom would always say, "Oh, Poppy's up there walking around. Poppy's up there walking around." And the doors would, you'd hear knocking on the doors, and the door handles would turn, and just weird stuff, you know. And then after my mom passed away, Shanna's daughter came up to me, she was what, three or four, 3 or 4 years old at the time. And she points up the stairs, and she goes, "That's where the ghosts were." And I go, "What are you talking about?" And she goes, "There's no more ghosts up there anymore." And I go, "Where did they go?" And she goes, "Out." I was like,
In
"Okay."
the woods or something?
Yeah, she said out into the woods or something like that. And I was like, "Okay, Shanna, come get your kid. She's creeping me out." You know, like, she's 4, creeping me out.
You should tell her she's mine.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, just weird stuff like that going on. And what about you, Katie?
I was gonna say it's funny that you mentioned like a little kid scenario. So my house that I'm living at now is right next to my grandmother's house, and I mean it's like at least 100 years old, and you know they've renovated it or whatever. And you know my mom and all of her sisters grew up there. I grew up there. My cousin grew up there, and there's always these like creepy stories. You know, years ago, me and my cousin we were like, oh, let's do a Ouija board and like figure out what's up. And my grandmother's right from Germany, by the way, so we did the Ouija board and we couldn't figure out what it was spelling. And my grandmother was like, that just spelled boy, but it was in German. And we're like, that's weird. So you know, we kept kind of experiencing weird stuff, and there was this like closet underneath the stairs, and I always got a weird vibe from it. I never wanted to go near it. I was just like, nah, there's something weird about that closet. And after my grandfather passed away, one of my aunts had a little boy, and he always played with his toys in front of the door to the closet. And like he was always facing it, and it always freaked me out because I hated that door. I was just like, no, why is he hanging out with that door? And I will never forget, I think it was at like Easter, it was at some family gathering, and he just starts freaking out, like screaming, crying, like just looking at the door, freaking out, and just yelling ghost. And I was just like, what the fuck? So all I can think is like this little kid ghost has been like playing behind the door with him and then decided to scare him. And since then, like, I got pushed down the stairs by like nothing there. A bunch of stuff keeps disappearing. A knife came flying out of a drawer, which was creepy. And there's just this one window that none of my friends can look at for more than like 5 minutes without just feeling like somebody's staring back at them. But that's just my grandmother's house. I mean, I have like so many stories about that stuff. It's insane. I love it. We have one friend though. My friend Mooney is like the worst skeptic ever. And, you know, anytime any of us see anything or hear anything, he's just like, oh, that's nothing. Shut up. You guys are stupid. But, no, it's fun. Because then we can creep him out with stuff, and we're just like, yeah, we got it. But, yep.
Yeah, for most of the time, it's better not to think about it. Otherwise, it's kind of like... I think that it creeps me out more than interests me. I mean, it interests me a lot, but it creeps me out even more. So... In that aspect, I don't want to think about, like, for example, this house. I know that where we live now, that it's been burnt down and people have died in it. And there's like stories about like bank robbers who ran into this house and were then shot here and all that. So I try not to think about it when it gets dark, especially when I'm alone. And I try not to look at Katze when she starts staring at points where there really isn't anything. Sometimes I just try to think that, yeah, there's just, you know, some small thing there, like a small spider or something she's looking at. It has to be that, yeah, it's nothing else. And then I just try to go to sleep. Like yesterday, she was staring at the mirror in the bedroom all the time, and the mirror shows the space beside the bed. So I was just thinking, like, I'm not watching. I'm not watching at all. I'm not creeped out. This is okay. But yeah, that's
I think my
that's that.
I think my favorite story that I'm still trying to figure out and get advice from people on, if anybody's ever heard of them, is the Hat Man.
Oh, dude, no.
What's the
You don't
Hat
want-
Man?
No. Do not tell me you've seen him.
Yeah. I had a friend.
My heart just like jumped out of my freaking chest right now.
I had a friend who lived in North Minneapolis in this old house, and she had told me the story about this man that would stand down in the alley, and she'd see him out her bedroom window, and he'd be facing the house. He had a long black coat, wide brim black hat, and no face. And she had seen him several times. Well, I was working at a place up north here in Minnesota with another friend, and we decided to go down to the fitness center in the next building over after work. And we passed by some double glass doors, and we both looked out at the same time and saw this man, a wide brim black hat, long black coat, and his head turned. And he looked at us, and we were like 12 feet apart. And he had no face. It was nothing. It was just like black, solid shadow mass. And then I had asked my grandma's friend when we were going down to my auntie's funeral ceremony if she had any ghost stories. And I never said anything to her about this person, Hat Man. And she described the same guy who came running up an embankment and tried getting in their car. The car died, and he tried getting in the car. And then all of a sudden they're screaming, her and these two guys. And the car all of a sudden started again, and they drove off. But I actually called, what was that, Darkness Radio one night, they had Psychic on. And she said all she got from it was he has no soul, but he's an intelligent being. But I've been trying to figure out the story behind the Hat Man ever since.
So I have some information for you. The way you described it showing up is different than what I've experienced. There's two different Hat Men. There's like the myth and the legend, but there's also what people also call shadow people. And the theory is that they're either other people's astral forms who are like astral projecting. Normally, you wouldn't be able to have two people seeing them at the same time because they'd be like in your astral field, kind of, if that's like the best way I can explain it. I don't know if you know much about that. Two is that they're like what we would call ghosts, other dimensional beings. Some of them are like totally harmless. They're actually also compared to like as like guardian angels or whatever. But Hat Man, the one with the hat and like a long trench coat type thing, is known for trying to find a hook into this reality from his own. But I've never read them like attacking anybody, or like running into the car like you said. So that's interesting. And the reason it freaks me out so much is because I've been followed by something for like years, and I was looking into it a lot, and like I didn't want to say anything to people because I was like, this sounds really crazy. I think people are just watching me. But a friend of mine was like, I was talking to her about it. I never said what he looked like or anything. And she's just like, oh yeah, he's like right behind you. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, he's wearing like a leather, like ripped up trench coat. It's got like long hair and like a hat of some kind. He's been around you ever since I've met you, dude. And I'm just like, why did you not tell me? So that's why I looked into it. Yeah.
You gave her goosebumps. That's good.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, when I've looked into it, I've never seen anything about them like being seen by multiple people at once, or like you said, running into the car or whatever. So I mean, it could just be like some random entity just hanging out. But if you see it kind of following you, like I can sense him, like personally, he's like chilling, like right here, like he always is. For the most part, he's kind of nice, but I will never try to astral project ever again. Fuck that shit. Freaky.
I think that sometimes when we think that something has like this kind of something is a legend, a myth, we think that it's always gonna be happening in the same way. I think that's a really, really wrong thing to think about. I mean, it's like all of us. We have our own patterns. We usually do things like that or this, but it doesn't mean that we always do them the same way, that we would never do something. I mean, for example, any one of us can, in the right circumstances, be, for example, a killer. It could happen. And the same goes for entities, I think, that we should never be surprised if we hear something that's a bit out of line, not in line with the myth or the legend. I think that's just normal. Even those things can be different. That's my opinion in any case.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I didn't mean to be like, oh, that's weird. It's interesting to me because like I've only seen slide A and not slide B. So if it is the same thing, that's really interesting, and I need to do some more research.
That was an interesting story, and I suggest that all of us go and read ourselves a bit more about the Hatman and Shadow People, because they are interesting legends. I think it's a bit maybe it's like a bit connected to the Mothman legend in a way of like appearing at certain times, but that's an interesting thing to look into.
Sorry, my dog is having puppy dreams.
Oh yes, we heard that there's little Porsche just chasing the rabbit of his life in his dreams. So Porsche catches it and has a good dream. This about wraps up our broadcast for today, and we're going to go to our last bit, which is the catches of the week. I'm going to start by plugging a really, really good new film. It should be out soon everywhere. Try and find it. It's called Turbo Kid. It's a movie about actually the past, but so that the past has been a bit more apocalyptic. So it's about the year 1997, and the apocalypse has made life a bit difficult. It's a Mad Max-esque landscape that the people live in. It tells a story about a young boy who then becomes a hero. And what makes this movie interesting is not just the really, really good use of cheap special effects, but also the very 80s soundtrack. The soundtrack is a retrowave instrumental soundtrack by Le Matos, which is a retrowave group. Retrowave is usually music that's inspired by 80s electro, if you didn't know that. This electric soundtrack makes the film really roll along. The movie has a lot of action, a lot of gore, and a really, really nice feel-good story. Maybe not feel-good in the comedy way, but anyway, it leaves you with a really, really warm feeling when you watch it. So Turbo Kid comes highly recommended to all fans of the 80s, of gore movies, and those interested in the 80s. So check it out. Turbo Kid is out there now. Chrissy, what do you have for us this week?
I don't have anything good, so I'm just gonna replug my metal news. I forgot to mention the name of the documentary, like a ding dong. So make sure you check out George Lintz's Shadow Nation Under a Crooked Sky. That's what it's called. And like I said, I'll link it, so hopefully we can all watch it. And it just, like I said, it just premiered a couple weeks ago, so hopefully it will be out so we can see it on Netflix and all that good stuff. And I'm sure it'll be leaked to YouTube and whatevs. Whatevs, as my Kardashian girls would say with their vocal fry. So, yeah, whatever. That's all I got.
Well, we're gonna be looking forward to finding the documentary in a streaming service near us, and looking forward to seeing it. Katie, what is your things to look out for this week?
I had to look on Facebook real quick because I realized I didn't know anything. But what I did realize is that the Third Attempts album's coming out on the 25th, Born in Thorns, and I am very excited to hear the rest of that album because I think they only released like 2 songs, or maybe more than that. I've only heard 2 songs off of it, but it sounds really good. Because, you know, Carpathian Forest, it's great. And then, you know,
Oh yeah.
this guy. Which reminds me, Frankson owes me some free shit. So if you're listening to this, Daniel, I sent you a piece of art. You send me free shit. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, definitely check out that album. I believe they're on tour right now too. I don't know. I'm like the worst news person this week ever.
Well, it doesn't matter because I can add up to that and tell that yes, Third Attempts album is out now through Dark Essence, and it's available everywhere. It features members from Carpathian Forest and of Emperor fame, if you want to put it that way. But to put it another way, it's a hell of an album, and they are on tour now. They are supporting, for example, Take. So go and check out Third Attempt on Facebook and on the web, and go catch them on a gig near you. And yes, Daniel, if you hear this, send Katie free stuff. Nothing comes free. There's no such thing as a free lunch. So get your shit together, man.
I got one more thing.
And then maybe we can
yes.
have you on.
I
Chrissy
forgot.
is having a panic attack, so tell us what it is before you die.
Oh, the new Alpha album, which we talked about earlier. If you open up the booklet, the picture I took is in there, and I got a photo credit. So I just wanted to give myself a shout out that I actually made it into the Alpha album with my picture, and I'm so happy and honored to be in there, and it just blew my mind that they used it that big. I thought maybe it would be part of a photo collage or something, and I'm just blown away. So make sure you go out and buy that album and check out that picture. So I took that at Blastfest, and it was exciting. I flew all the way over there to see them guys. I just happened to snap that picture, and they used it. So that's my news. That's my happy news. So.
Well, it was a good picture, but you deserve all the credit, and you deserve that place on the booklet. So here's another shout out to Alpha Hanne. That album is a killer. So get it as a vinyl, as a CD, stream it, download it, whatever. Just make sure you listen to it, and don't forget, Alphacalypse is a good album too. So if you go and listen to Blood Eld Alpha, go and check out Alphacalypse as well. You won't be disappointed. If you like Turbo Negro, if you like punk, if you like metal, if you like rock, go and check it out now.
And we will have Frederick on, or Friedrich, however you want to say it. I say Frederick, but I think it's Friedrich.
No, it's Frederick.
Is it Frederick? Okay.
Yeah, so you're near. You're very near to the truth. And I was also thinking that maybe we can also have the crazy ass Niklas from Alpha Hanne as well. So maybe we could get both of them.
That would be
sit down and have a word with us.
That would be excellent. They said that they would. I know that Frederick said he would for sure, so hopefully we can get him on soon. I know they just
I'm
played
pretty sure we will.
last night, so Helsinki, but yeah, exciting. I'm
Yes.
excited to talk to him.
So yeah, that's about it for today.
Yeah,
In the forthcoming episodes, we're gonna be not just having Alpha Honey guys guesting, we're also looking forward to having a word about some reality series vices, and we're also going to be looking deeper into our usual topics: horror movies, ghosts, and ghost. Because you can never have too much ghost, can you? This is it for today. This is NH Leviathan, aka Nello, signing out.
This is KP. Thank you once again for listening, and we love you and hate you at the same time. And toodles.
This is not any more drunk, intoxicated, and much hungover. Come back next week. Bye.
I hope Katie gets back from that hungover feeling. Send us your comments, go and like us on Facebook, check out killercatscrew.com, and come back next week. Bye-bye!
Toodles.
Bye.